You're a write-in candidate, Ron Verbos,
Yes.
for St. Mary's Commissioner President
Yes.
in the general election. I can think of one election in 1978 where we had a write-in candidate for commissioner, and it was probably, I think, for the race of commissioner president, and it didn't work, even with the Enterprise newspaper behind it. So you really have an uphill battle to get people to write your name in.
Absolutely, I do.
All right, so let's make it easy for them. Say your name, spell it for people.
My name is Ron Verbos.
Do they have to write Ron or Ronald?
They do not have to write Ronald. They can write Ron, as long as it's close. But then again, the election board, I don't know what they would decide, but according to the rules, they do not have to write Ronald. But if they chose, it's either Ron or Ronald Verbos. V as in Victor, E-R, B as in boy, O-S.
Okay. All right. So instead of going through a lengthy discussion about why you didn't want to be a Republican or a Democrat,
Okay.
and file so your name would be on the ballot, would you tell us where you think most voters are on that issue? How do you think most people feel about being in a party? Is that what they're voting for, the candidate, or for the best candidate, or for the party?
Oh, I honestly believe that if you are a staunch person of your party that supports it, that you will vote that party no matter what. And unfortunately, but if you look at it, most elections are decided by the person in the middle, the independents, the uncommitted to the parties. If you look at it, you've got 10 to 15% strong right, 10 to 15% strong left, and then you've got a whole bunch of people that are moderate and in the middle. Those are the ones that decide the elections. So I'm representing all of them with my campaign. So.
Well, you're running against a fellow who's running for his third term,
Yes.
and he says he's a Republican, but he votes like a liberal Democrat. I mean, he is really throwing money away left and right.
I believe all of the all the commissioners have been throwing money left or right, and that's why I want to be there, is because I want to put a stop to that with a fresh set of eyes, do a bottoms-up review, and say, hey, what are the taxpayers getting for their investment? What is their return for investment?
Because when you come right down to it, it's still tax money.
It is. It's the people's money.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm running. I'm running for the people. I'm a common guy. I want to represent the people.
And the commissioners haven't been giving the approval of these requests the same scrutiny as if all the tax money came from local coffers, or if they had to get it from tax dollars.
I am disappointed in some of the commissioners.
They're doing that. I mean,
Yep. That
incredible.
they do not review the background enough.
They blew $1 million on a new sheriff's detective's hideout in Lexington Park, or California, right behind the BJ's.
Yes.
They
yes.
paid $200,000 more than the assessed value.
And I would have to look in. I don't know that personally, but I would have to look
They're getting
into
ready to
what
spend
that is.
$26 million on a new sheriff's headquarters in Leonardtown. Are you in favor of that?
I would have to look at the dollar signs and what we're getting. I'm going to be very frugal with the people's money.
Well, they've got an existing headquarters, and they seem to all fit into it now.
Well, I want to make sure our law enforcement are covered with the resources they need, but at the same time, I want to go back. They're not going to get a blank check from me. I want to be frugal with the people's money. It's not my money I'm spending the people's money. And so I want to be frugal, make sure that the return on investment on any of our spending of the tax dollars is warranted, and we will get a good reward and a return for that.
Okay. What about crime?
Crime scares me the most, and when I talk to the people, that's their number one issue behind the economy. Crime is a serious problem here in St. Mary's, and it's getting worse every day. I think I have a decent solution. It's a four-pronged solution. One, we got to make sure our law enforcement has the resources that they need. Not going extravagant, the resources they need. Two, we also need to go to the school boards and the school system and get the gangs out of the school. That's causing more problems in this county than people want to acknowledge. Three, we have to have the community involved. We need to take our community back from the criminals, not give it to them. And then fourth, I apologize on that one. I lost my train of thought. And I
You having a
apologize.
Biden moment?
Yeah, I'm having a Biden moment. Get the families involved, and then get the community to bring their streets
Well,
back.
we've had the first murder at a fireman's carnival in history this year. We had a
sickening.
barbershop shooting last week
Yes.
at San Souci. It's
sad
just
and
incredible.
sickening.
Broad daylight.
Yeah.
You know, these barbers sit outside in chairs in front of the place.
We need to take it back from
You
the
know?
criminals. That's the problem. We need to take our
And the
our
sheriff's
community
department
back.
never acted except to show up for the shots.
Yes, we need to be proactive with all of that. And that's what I said. I mean, again, that goes back to the budget and giving them the resources. We need to make sure that if we do that, our return of that investment is going to protect the communities, the citizens of this communities. So,
Well, you came here with the military.
Yes.
You decided to stay and retire here.
yes,
Okay, and worked as a civilian and retired.
Yes.
Okay. How do you, when you talk to other friends and people and neighbors that have done the same thing, what do you hear from them about living here now? Are they convinced that they made a mistake?
no. This is a beautiful county, and it's a beautiful place. And while things are getting worse, and some of that is our growth, and I'm very concerned with our growth, and it's going too fast at too fast of a pace. I do believe we need to be responsible with that growth. But as far as the community and stuff, no, I would never say that they're making a mistake by living here. It's a beautiful place to live. Before you ask the next question, I want to go back because my Biden moment is over. The fourth thing of my crime solving is to make sure that the DA and the prosecutors prosecute to the fullest extent of the law as possible. No more of these, letting them out off easy, or if it's a 5-year sentence, giving them one. Punish them to the maximum extent possible. Send a message that crime's not going to be tolerated. Now to go back to your other one. So.
Well, the gridlock, the traffic in Great Mills.
Yes.
I mean, it's like the commissioners just approved another building that just opened up with hundreds of employees at
Yes.
JF Taylor.
Yes.
Right there at the failed
Right.
intersection.
And that's my classic example.
And it's been failed for 20 years.
Yeah, and that's my classic example of how we're not being smart, we're not being proactive in our planning and our growth. We got to have a responsible growth because you're right, absolutely right. Great Mills Road was a mess before that building's there, and now it's just going to be completely worse. And those are the kinds of decisions that made me want to run because we're not looking at it. I'll give you another example. The fiasco with the Royal Farms down there at Gate 2. Several things irritate me about that. One is if you're a big corporation with lots of lawyers, you seem to be able to bowl over our government. No, that should not be the case. Secondly, I find it hard to believe that the base is not saying anything about a petroleum facility being right outside of a gate of a naval base.
Well, the
I
base
find that hard.
is a dumping ground for command officers that their careers are going nowhere. They send them here and then they retire.
I don't know if I would go that far.
Yeah, everybody else says it.
But, yeah, well, I don't know if I would go that far. There's a lot of good work done on that base. But, again, one of their projects that they're looking at doing is redoing Gate 2 again. And so now we're building a Royal Farms and we're building Gate 2. Are the two people talking at all? And that is the part that made me want to run is I don't think the left hand is talking to the right hand. And we need some common sense in there and sit back and take a bigger, broader picture of what's going on. And personally, I don't think the commissioners have been doing that lately.
Do you think it's a prerequisite for you to be a commissioner to have to serve on a board of appeals or the planning commission or the Parks and Recreation?
No.
Or do you think your military and civilian career has prepared you enough for?
I do. I do think that has, without a doubt, it's given me the ability to communicate, to lead, to work with different walks of life, no matter what, to meet people. I mean, somebody from Montana is going to be completely different. Somebody from Mississippi is going to be completely somebody different from Maryland. So you got to be able to learn and adapt and overcome and be able to communicate and get things accomplished. So, excuse me. So yeah, I don't think that's going to be a problem. But I do think my background has allowed me. And plus, I think I've got something that the current commissioners, most of them don't have, is common sense. Let's talk about this. I mean, they're just not doing anything. They're just spending money, like you said earlier.
Yeah.
So
A lot of people liked them better with
Yeah.
their masks on.
I don't even want to talk about masks. So
Okay. All right. Okay, we talked about crime, taxes. What about inflation? The effect inflation is having every time you walk in the grocery store
Yeah.
or pay your electric bill.
Yeah.
Now, the commissioners have no effect on that, but when they don't scrutinize local spending, aren't they adding to the problem?
I believe so. I absolutely 100%. You're right. We don't have control of the national level stuff, and that's an impact. We're feeling the impact of something national. But yes, we should do measures down here to help our people, and try to curtail that as
they
much
put
as
up a
possible.
$6 million deputies restroom facility on Great Mills Road, and just within months after it was opened, they had a murder across the street from it, and people ran across the street to get help, and nobody would come to the door. There was just a clerk
I
inside.
don't understand that. Again, that's a
I mean, come
bottoms-up
on.
review that I want to do, and that all goes back to the return on investment. If I'm giving you a check to go build a building to protect the community, and the community's not being built,
Yeah.
then you need to come in front and answer those questions. Why not? And maybe we need to look at something else.
Well, the building was a big shiny object with the word sheriff on it.
Yes, I
There was
understand.
nobody inside.
And if it's not being utilized the way it's supposed to be, that's a problem, and we need to take a look at it.
Yeah.
However, I support the law enforcement. I don't want to be misunderstood.
No, it's
I
not,
wanna give them the
it's not a matter of
resources.
not supporting law
So-
enforcement. It's a matter of the management.
Yes, and again, that goes back to that return on investment that I
Yeah.
keep talking about. If I give you a bunch of money and I expect a product, the people expect a product, then we better deliver. And if not, then we need to find out why and make changes.
Okay, the sheriff's department keeps losing deputies. They get hired, they get trained here, and they run into the good old boy system, and they decide to leave and go elsewhere. Meanwhile, the taxpayers here have trained them and paid for it all.
Right.
What would you do to get the sheriff to stop that? Would you be in favor of a county police department?
There is, I'm not sure I'd be in favor of the county police department on the surface because I haven't done the background to understand everything, but I will tell you what I would do.
Well, you'd
There's-
have a study committee to determine
I'm
that.
not a big study person, but we could. But I will tell you what I would do. Okay, retention will feed recruitment. If we don't retain our good quality law enforcement personnel, we won't be able to recruit in the future. You've got to be able to retain them. So how do you do that? You give them some tax incentives. There's a state bill that allows for tax incentives, property tax breaks for law enforcement. The commissioners have not adopted that. They need to. We need to retain the good police officers, and if we do that, and we want to make sure they get paid correctly, I'm not saying give them, a huge raise, but they need to be paid correctly, and for what they do, they put their lives on the line every day for the citizens of this community, and so we got to make sure they're compensated fairly. We give them tax incentives. We give them breaks where we can to help them stay here and raise their families within the community that they are protecting. So those are the things that I would look at. And again, I firmly believe retention will lead to better recruitment and better support.
All right, let me ask you this.
Sure.
You're not reading from a teleprompter. You're not
I'm talking from the heart.
Exactly. You don't have any notes.
I
in
don't
a
have
3x5?
any notes, nothing.
No one has written a script for
No,
you for
I am
this
talking
interview.
about- That's why I had that Biden moment.
That's pretty much what your opponent does. Everybody at the county, they write a script for him and they have it in front of them.
That's right. I don't want to I don't want to be like that.
And he won't do any more interviews. Okay.
He doesn't need to. He probably feels he's got it in the bag.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping
Okay.
that people will write Ron Verbos in.
Okay. All right. We're at Social Coffee in Leonardtown.
Yes.
Ron Verbos. You're running as a write-in candidate for County Commissioner President, St. Mary's County, in November 8th general election. Okay, and Social Coffee has got the best coffee in town.
Yes, they do.
All right. Thank you very much and good luck.
All right. Thank you very much.